Welcome back, code artists, to our third and hopefully last video on sequence of code. In this one, we're going to just kind of fill in some of the gaps that we missed. For example, we did talk about local variables, but I want to talk about this type of method call versus this type of method call right here. And then we need to talk about these parameters right here. We need to talk about quoting, including this new thing in JavaScript called template literals, which are fantastic. I do want to go over this readline sync library and what this right here means, just because we're going to use it for the balance of this class. So let's just jump right into it. So let's start right here and take a look at this. Again, line 21, notice that I have declared using the let keyword. That's how we declare variables in JavaScript. I gave it a name called current year, and notice the camel casing. And I assigned it the value of 2017. And I know this is variable data because this could change year to year. So it's not going to be a constant. I don't want to set it to 2001 and here it is 2017 and it's wrong, so I left it as variable. But I really only put this in here so that I could demonstrate local variables and how it's scoped from this curly brace to this curly brace right here. This particular line right here, line 22, is a method call where I'm calling set last name, and if we come down here we see that I am setting last name, which was declared up here with the let keyword. I'm setting it to be equal to whatever the user types in right here. And this prompt.question relates to this library call. Prompt, I'm setting prompt to be equal to this library readline sync. One of the functions inside of readline sync is a function called question, which allows me to have a user type something in, hit enter, and then that gets assigned to the variable right there. So that's all that's going on right there. Another way to do essentially the same thing is line 23, where I take the variable that I declared up here with the let keyword, and notice that I have declared variables on different lines, and I want to stop and talk about that really quick. Really, I only deal with, in this beginning class, with two data types besides null and undefined. I deal with numbers and strings. So I will ask my students to declare all of their strings on one line separated by commas, and then all of their numbers on another line separated by commas. Now as we get deeper into it, and if we start having different types of numbers other than integer, if we start getting into decimal numbers, I might say please declare those on another line as well, so we know the difference between the whole numbers and the decimal numbers. So with this let keyword, I am declaring that first name variable, but I'm setting it differently down here. I'm mutating it differently. I'm saying that first name is equal to whatever this method right here returns using the return keyword that you see down here on 45. And that's what the purpose of the return keyword is. Have a little mini program, a function inside of your code, do something, and then return the value up to the caller. So this is the caller right here, and I'm saying first name is equal to whatever gets returned out of this method right here. Now I won't do that really for the rest of the class for simplistic things like this. I prefer to leave my mutator methods like this, call them, and have them set the global variables. But I needed you to see that this was another way that you could do the exact same thing. Alright, next up on our list is parameters. And what parameters are a way to take these locally scoped variables that we declare and initialize. Remember, it's best practice to do them on the same line, unlike global variables where we only declare them and then initialize them later. We take this locally scoped variable, and since it's only scoped between these two brackets right here, I need a way for setAge to be able to see it. I can just simply take it and pass it inside of these parentheses. I'm taking the value 2017 because that's what's stored in this variable because of this assignment operator. I'm taking that and I'm passing it to this method right here called setAge. Down here on set age, I am receiving the variable inside of my parentheses. You can call it whatever you want down here. I prefer, for self-documenting purposes, to call it what it was when it was passed down. So down here in set age, I'm receiving the value 2017 down here. And then I can work with it inside of my method. So I say let year is equal to this prompt question right here. So we'll say it's 2017. I now say age is equal to current year, which was what was passed in, so 2017, minus the year that they put right here, which would be, in my case, 1970. So then that gives us the result of 47. Whenever you're watching this video, it's 2017 right now, so it's 47. So the next line down on line 57, I'm doing some math, and that's the next thing I wanted to talk about. There are operators in all programming languages, and the list is down here on the bottom of the different operators. But I'm showing you subtraction right here, but I'm also showing you the exponent operator, which is new to this version of JavaScript, and we will use it. So I'm saying that this new variable called age squared is equal to the age up here raised to the power of 2 or squared, and that's going to come back with I don't know, I thought it was 2000 something or other. And then on line 58 I print it out to the screen, and that's what these console.log lines are. It's a way for me to print data out to the screen. So I'm passing into console log this variable value, which is whatever the value was of my age squared, and it's going to output it to the screen in the terminal window, and I will show you that in just a minute here. Down here with this variable, this is just simply a worker method, and I get this question so often in my class that I put the actual syntax right here on line 67. It's the syntax for clearing the screen in Windows. I'm not exactly sure what this code combination right here is to clear it out with Macintosh, but for Windows, this is how you clear the screen in the terminal. And then I console log out these strings right here. Now you'll notice a couple of things. One, this string right here, I'm using double quotes. And down here on this string, these look like single quotes, but they're actually backticks, which is the key, the tilde key, or the key right above the left-hand tab key. And I prefer to do this right here, and these are called template literals. It's like a more powerful string quotation. So with this line right here, I have to put in the text that I want. Oh, and by the way, really quick, this is called an escape character. Anything that you put inside of these quotes with a and then a backslash and then a character will do something special. In this particular case, \n does a new line, and the only other one that I really use is \t, which does a tab. So anyway, this is saying start this text string that prints out to the window on a new line. So I put my text in. Notice I have a space right here between my end quote. Then I use this plus symbol. Now the plus symbol in JavaScript is an overloaded symbol, meaning not only is it a mathematical operator down here for addition, but it's also an overloaded operator for concatenating variable data with string text. And so that's how you get whatever this value is to appear inside of your sentences by using these concatenation operators, just as you see right here. So I do hello with a space, then first name, and then a plus, and then I put a space in. That's actually a string space, so it does first name and last name separated. And then another concatenator, and then another double quotes, a period, space, UR. So you can see this gets really convoluted when you're trying to do string concatenation. You may have to do that sometimes, but once they came out with the template literals in this new version of JavaScript, all you simply have to do to get the language to put the value of your variable and only use one set of quotes is use backticks, and then you use $, open curly brace, the variable or constant that you want the value to be put in, and then a closed curly brace. This is supremely helpful when you're doing front-end JavaScript on web pages, but that's not the point of this class. I just wanted to really espouse how much I love this. And another good benefit of this template literal is how you can do multi-line comments where you don't have to concatenate. I can just keep hitting enter here and putting text strings on here and then finally close it off with a backtick, and it works perfectly. Alright, so let me check my list here and make sure I've got concatenation, 3 types of so the 3 types of JavaScript quoting are single quotes and double quotes, which essentially work the same exact way. So I could have either done double quotes or single quotes here. And then the third type is the backtick, also called the template literal, which is what we're going to be using for the rest of this class. That's all I use anymore, the template literals. It's so much easier. But even though this looks really weird, all it's doing is putting the word English right there because I declared it and initialized it up here as English. So that's all that's going right there. We talked about parameters, all the different operators. Modulo, I want to talk about that really quick. That's just where you use that and it gives you the remainder of the division is what the value actually is, not the result. So it's the remainder of division. We talked about escape characters, console logging, 10 commandments, and now I want to show you this program in action. So the way that I run it is I click on the terminal and I simply type the word node space and then the name of my program, code3.js, and hit enter, and it's going to say please enter last name. So it's running down in order of my main method right here. It already did this, and now it's asking me for my last name. So it's got to this line and it's run down here and it's saying please enter last name, and notice it started on a new line, and that was because of this escape character sequence right here. And then my first name, notice it looks the same way, it's behaving the same way as this one, but we did it completely differently by using a return statement right here and setting the value to be to whatever this method returns. Behaves and acts the same way though. 1970. Notice that it gives me my age squared, and then it finishes off with this. So this age squared line was when I console logged it right here, and the rest of this comes from down here. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, why isn't it clearing the screen? Good question. Sometimes with Node it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what the algorithm is for why it works and why it doesn't. Alright, so based on my calculations, it looks like we're up to about 13 minutes. I think that covers everything I needed to get done for this first part, and then the next video and the last video kind of in this series is where I take a story problem and then we code it out together in a few minutes. I don't type it all out. I copy and paste the stuff because it's already typed out. But just so you can see how to do the story problem. Very similar to the cookie thing that we did in the last video. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.